Some people feel most alive not in crowded places, but in the quiet corners of their own homes. They don't chase the noise of busy streets or the attention of unfamiliar faces. Their comfort comes from familiar surroundings, soft silence, and the ease of being themselves. To outsiders, they might look like someone avoiding life, yet in reality, they're living it in a different rhythm. These individuals aren't escaping the world, they're moving toward a calmer existence. There's a psychological explanation for this preference. Studies show that people who enjoy being at home often possess rich inner landscapes. Their thoughts, their imagination, their emotions, everything inside them is detailed and intense. Their minds are places where depth, movement, and meaning naturally exist. Home is not a place to hide. It's a space where this inner life can breathe. Psychologists refer to this as high internal self-awareness, the ability to connect more deeply with one's inner reality than the external world. These people don't need chaos to feel excitement. They can sit with a cup of tea, look out of a window, and feel a quiet fulfillment others try to find in faraway places. Their hearts don't race in crowds, they steady themselves in silence. But here's the twist. It wasn't always like this. Many of them once tried keeping up with the fast pace around them. They tried mirroring the energy of friends who thrived on noise, plans, and constant social movement. And somewhere along that journey, they discovered something simple but powerful. Their calm wasn't a flaw. Their need for quiet wasn't weakness. It was their nature. The first time I understood this, I believed that staying home would make me invisible or lonely. But instead, I felt understood by the very space surrounding me. I realized I didn't need loudness to feel alive. I didn't need attention to feel seen. I started valuing the sound of turning pages more than applause. That's when I learned that peace, too, is a valid way of living. Staying home doesn't equal isolation. Sometimes it means being present with yourself in a way the outside world never allows. And that is something the world often forgets. There's a distinct trait shared by people who prefer home: introspection. They think deeply. Small moments turn into stories. Memories turn into lessons. They feel emotions intensely. Joy becomes richer. Sadness becomes expression. Hope becomes direction. They don't rush their feelings just to match the tempo of others. They take time to understand every layer of them. Research even shows that people who enjoy solitude often rank high in creativity, empathy, and emotional awareness. Their calm helps them see people clearly, even when they themselves aren't always understood. Yet society often mislabels them. You're missing out. Go out more. Don't you get bored? These comments hurt because they imply something is lacking in home-loving people. But many of history's greatest thinkers, creators, and innovators preferred staying home. They didn't always stand in crowds. They stayed in their rooms, shaping ideas that reshaped the world. Maybe that's the hidden truth. Silence carries its own kind of communication. It teaches patience, observation, and the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself. Still, there's a question people rarely ask. If home feels so comforting, what exactly are they seeking protection from? Sometimes it's overstimulation. Those who love being at home are often sensitive to noise, chaos, and unpredictable emotional environments. Their nervous system craves steadiness, a place where their energy can settle instead of constantly reacting. Home gives them control, and control gives them peace. Sometimes it's trust. They offer their hearts carefully to a select few, not because they're unfeeling, but because they feel everything so deeply. They know the worth of emotional safety. And sometimes it's simply preference. Not fear, not avoidance, not trauma, just a genuine choice to spend time where their spirit feels at ease. They have hobbies that don't need an audience. Reading, gaming, painting, films, personal projects. Joy becomes a quiet ritual instead of a public celebration. They measure happiness in moments, not in big events. But here's a truth they rarely speak out loud. They love intensely. They care silently. They notice everything. When distractions fade, the heart learns how to pay attention. If you're someone who prefers home, you've probably felt misunderstood. You may have questioned yourself. You may have wondered if there's something wrong because you don't enjoy loud gatherings. But what if nothing is wrong? What if the world actually needs more people like you? People who listen before speaking, who think before reacting, who feel before pretending. Let me shift now from talking about them to speaking as someone like them. I once thought the world would forget me if I spent too much time in my own space. But eventually, I noticed something. The world inside my mind was flourishing. Ideas kept me awake more than any party ever could. I found meaning in the stillness of my own room. And slowly, I realized home is not a location. Home is a mindset. Now let's talk directly. Maybe you are one of these people. Maybe you've always felt slightly different. Maybe your own company has always felt more honest than being in a crowd. And maybe the world hasn't applauded this part of you yet. But listen closely. Your quiet is powerful. Your silence has layers. Your solitude is not a burden, it's a gift. And there's something important you need to hear. People who love staying home are not avoiding life. They're living it with intention. They don't waste words on empty conversations or time on shallow interactions. They want depth, truth, and genuine connections, even if they are few. Psychologists note that people who seek solitude often have high self-understanding. They recognize their emotions, their triggers, and what nurtures them. Many people never learn this about themselves. Home-oriented people learn it early. This doesn't mean they never feel lonely. Solitude and loneliness are different things. Solitude is chosen. Loneliness is not. A person can feel lonely even surrounded by people, but solitude strengthens. Some days staying home feels like a shield from a demanding world, and some days it feels like freedom, the freedom to simply exist. Let's go deeper into the psychology. It's not just introversion. Even extroverts sometimes need the comfort of home to recharge. It's less about personality and more about emotional energy, where it drains and where it refills. Trust also plays a role. They don't open their hearts to everyone. They observe whether someone is emotionally safe before letting them in. Their love may look guarded, but when they care intensely. Their mind is a creative studio. They can turn silence into ideas and routine into ritual. They don't need distant destinations. They find meaning in presence. They understand what heightens anxiety or discomfort. Home lets them regulate their world. But here's a paradox. Sometimes the reason they love home is because the world once broke their trust. A friendship that didn't last, a betrayal they weren't prepared for, or emotions that were too heavy for others to understand. So they built a place where being themselves required no apology. If you've ever preferred staying home because the world felt too heavy, you're not alone. You're learning to defend your peace. And that's emotional maturity. Still, staying home doesn't mean your dreams are small. Your ambitions aren't weak, they're internal. You want something meaningful, something real, something aligned with your soul. You don't need a cheering audience, you just want someone who truly understands. Maybe you're waiting for better timing, better people, or a world that feels a bit kinder. Here's something personal. Home is the one place where judgment fades, where you don't have to perform, where tiredness turns into comfort. Sometimes you look out the window and watch life rushing by. Cars moving, people hurrying, noise filling the air, and you smile quietly because you know your treasure is inside. Yet society keeps pushing the idea that constant movement equals success, that rest equals laziness, that stillness equals failure. But the truth is simple. Rest grows you. Stillness clarifies you. Silence teaches you. You may stay home more than others, but your life isn't paused. You are processing, healing, evolving. And because you feel deeply, you love deeply. If someone has a place in your life, they matter. You give attention, gentleness, and loyalty, qualities many people overlook. You notice the hidden sighs, the unsent messages, the strength behind someone's silence. You understand emotions through pauses, not just words. And that makes you rarer than you realize. One of the most beautiful qualities in home-loving people is self-companionship. They don't fear their own thoughts. They don't run away from their emotions. They can sit with themselves and still feel whole. That is not loneliness. That is connection. So let me speak directly.